Good afternoon. We are here today to talk about monkey brain. So we just started the recording and we'll just wait, see if anyone else is going to join. And then we will get right into the joys of monkey brain. While you're waiting, just put your wins in the chat. Okay, so shall we start then? It's great to see you. Hopefully at the end of this session today, you are going to get, hang on, because you're not going to get anything if you can't hear me. There we go. So hopefully at the end of today, you are going to come out of this session with a really good understanding, not only of monkey brain, but also how to be able to deal with it so that you can meditate and why meditating is important for your fertility. Okay, so that is our ultimate aim out of today. We've all been there, trying to sit still for some meditation and your mind is just all over the place. That's monkey mind. That's what we're talking about when I'm mentioning monkey mind. It's that feeling when your thoughts are just bouncing around all over the place like a hyperactive child. They're just going for it and you're trying to focus, but suddenly you're thinking about your to-do list, just thinking about, I don't know, an email you forgot to send, something you forgot to pick up for the shop or what you're going to make for dinner. It's all going on and you're doing anything except the focusing that you are really there to do. So the thing is, meditation, it's not about stopping all of these thoughts, which is a common misconception, really. What meditation is about learning what you need to do in order to be able to work with those thoughts that are going on. Okay. So that's what we're going to get into today. And trust me, you know, if you think that you're too distracted to meditate, you are not alone. Loads of my couples are in exactly the same place. This is where most people start, but it's so important towards fertility. So let's just talk about the science for a moment. Meditation isn't just a woo-woo thing, all right? There's hard research to back it up. And when you understand that, it becomes so much more appealing to get over the difficulties that we have with it. So meditation rewires our brain. There's the prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain that's responsible for focus and for decision making. That's where we're working here when we're talking about meditation. It's not a muscle, but in the same way that you'd work a muscle in the gym, meditation strengthens this prefrontal cortex. So there's been some studies at Harvard Medical School that show that meditation increases the gray matter in the areas of the brain linked to attention and emotional regulation. And the more that you practice meditation, the more that you help your brain to rewire itself to be calm and focused, a bit like tuning that radio that we were talking about in the session earlier on in the week. So if we talk about stress, because obviously that's a key emotion, meditation helps to reduce cortisol. Cortisol is the hormone that is the killer of fertility. So I talk about stress is the killer of fertility. When I'm talking about that, I'm actually talking about cortisol. That spikes when you're stressed. And high cortisol can interfere with everything from sleep to fertility. So there was some research at Johns Hopkins University which shows that regular meditation practices reduces stress. And obviously, if we're saying that stress is the killer of fertility, that is absolutely key if you're dealing with fertility issues. So when you lower your cortisol, You're improving your hormonal balance, and that's exactly what we want when it comes to conceiving. Just going to let someone in. Just give me a second. Okay, there we go. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Studies published in Fertility and Sterility show that stress has a direct impact on your reproductive hormones. So hormones like GnRH, FSH, and your luteinizing hormone, they're all crucial for ovulation and for conception. Meditation helps to balance those hormones, improve your blood flow to your reproductive organs, and overall, it just creates a more fertile environment in your body. Women who manage stress through mindfulness have been shown to increase their chances of conceiving naturally. Now, how powerful is that? It's like something like 20% that their chances of conceiving naturally increase by just adopting mindfulness meditation. That's real science. Real science. It's mind-blowing, isn't it? All of the drugs, everything that we've been going through with IVF, injections, tests, and you can increase your fertility by something like 20% by working with your brain and improving this prefrontal cortex, which controls your emotions. Now, in traditional Chinese medicine, meditation is seen as the way to balance your internal energy. So that's the qi that you talk about, or your prana, not in Chinese, but you might have heard qi or prana. It's that energy flow. So when the energy that needs to move, everything that needs moving around your body gets blocked and stops, that creates a problem. Meditation relaxes you and allows that energy to move. Okay. And so it's not just the Western science that is supporting that meditation improves your general health. I mean, we're talking about fertility, but of course, we mentioned time and time again how fertility comes from your optimal health. But it's also how it is seen in Chinese medicine that also improves your fertility. So when we calm the mind, we also support your physical healing. It's about creating harmony, and that's exactly what your body needs when you're trying to conceive. So there's a bit of the background there. Now, how many of you think that you can't meditate? Just put your hand up in the chat. Yeah, everyone, pretty much. So let's get practical. When you are sitting there and you're thinking, tried meditation and I am just rubbish at it, or I hate it, or I can't do it, essentially. I get it, okay? And you've probably already read 1,000 tips, but here's the thing. Meditation is flexible. There's no one right way to do it. You can have guided meditation where someone's speaking in your ear. You can sit in a silent room. You can watch a candle burning. You can put music on. You can do any number of different things. It's still meditation. The idea is with meditation is that you're cutting the stress out of your body so that it can run optimally. So let's break it down and see if we can find a way that works for you. Now, what I always will say when people are struggling, you're not aiming to do 10 to 20 minutes. We're not aiming to go on a meditation silent weekend. Why would we? That's not what we're about. We're just about a means to an end at this point in time when we're dealing with our fertility. If you learn it and you adapt to it and you think you want to do that later on, fab, go for it. It's only ever going to do you good. But our ultimate aim is for you to learn to control the mind, because the mind controls the body. So start with 1 minute. You heard me right. 1 minute, just 1 minute, not start with 1 minute. Okay. Don't allow yourself to convince yourself that you can't sit still for long. We can all sit still for 1 minute. Okay. So just do that. Start ridiculously small. Set a timer on your phone and just sit there until that 1 minute time is finished. And that's it. You move on, get on with the rest of your day. what you'll find is that short time is, sorry, someone else is here. Just give me a second. There we go. What you'll find is that short time is actually manageable. You're not putting pressure on yourself, and that no pressure, that's your perfect situation, isn't it? And so there, once you've done your minute, then you can add an extra 30 seconds on each week. Each week you build in an extra 30 seconds, an extra 30 seconds. You barely notice that increase, but trust me, your mind will start to settle. And suddenly you'll be doing like 5 minutes or whatever it is that you're aiming for in total. And you'll be like, wow, you're like, I just did that without even realizing. It's amazing how quickly your body adapts when we train it. So you will probably have heard, and I will suggest this too, to focus on your breath when you're meditating. Okay. So I'm a big believer in box breathing. So you breathe out for 4, hold for 4, in for 4, hold for 4. And you do it like that. And that's a way to focus your mind. Okay. So you're counting your breaths, or the beats of your breath as you breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. And that allows you to not necessarily get rid of the thoughts, but to have something else to focus your brain on, that activity. But at the same time, the physiological of holding your breath and breathing slower means that your body relaxes as well. But that isn't for everyone. Seriously, not everybody can do that, and that's fine. So what you could do is find something that does work for you. Now, that could be the hum of the refrigerator. It could be the traffic outside the window. It could be a fan that's going in the background, the birds outside. You could have a meditation playlist that you like to listen to while you're doing it. The idea is to listen to your body, understand what it is that works for you, and to use that to your advantage. Okay. So if you're not sure about that, there are some apps which I like. So there's one called Tide, which I'm not so keen on. There's another one called Noisely, and I've put the link to that in the notes from the recording. So they generate like a calming background sound, like rain or a cozy fireplace. And they get my teeth in. They can serve then as a focus. They help you to stay present without fighting the silence, because it's that silence that sends us crazy, because we're not used to it. We live busy lives, and it's too much of an extreme in the opposite direction. We need to work towards these things. What you can also, oh, by the way, as well, these thoughts, they're not something that we can't have that are coming in backwards and forwards. It's just things that are not our focus. We're always going to have thoughts. They're always going to go on. That's the nature of an active brain. Okay. Now, you could do it a different way as well. So I'm just trying to give you some tools here to start off with on your 1 minute. So you can do a minute a day that way, a minute a day this way, see which works for you. So you can, like when I do this, I like to sit still. I'll sit in my chair, or I'll sit on the floor. I might lie down if it's after a yoga session, something like that. You could try doing a body scan meditation. Now, I'm really used to meditating and yoga. You ask me to do a body scan meditation, it drives me insane. Like, I get so bored with it. But some people who don't like meditation will adapt to that really quickly. So again, it's about finding what works for you. So if you start at your toes or your head, whichever, and you just draw your attention to every single part of your body in sequence, that way, as you get to it, you just relax that piece, relax that piece, relax that piece. It gives you a focus and something to work on. So that might work. You know, if you lie down, first of all, you bring your awareness to your toes, slowly move up through your legs, through your torso. Eventually, you go into your arms, your chest, head, neck, and head. You're not forcing yourself to focus on your thoughts. You're focusing on your physical sensations instead. So if you are someone who feels grounded by physical contact, lying down rather than sitting is really good, because then your entire body is touching the ground, that earth sensation. And you could even put a weighted blanket over you as well. so that you're kind of feeling a little bit more secure and comfortable. You can put your hands on your belly to act as an anchor. Most people expect you to do your meditation like that, but you do what works for you. Some people do this kind of pose, whatever works for you. Now, we talked about those thoughts that are coming in and out of your mind and saying that they're meant to be there, these thoughts, but they're not meant to be a primary distraction. It's almost like prioritizing what's going on in your mind. So one amazing trick that I was taught years ago, I've written some books, and those books are, I went on a writing retreat, and there was a lady there who's doing meditation, yoga in the morning. And at the end of it, we'd do some meditation. And we were outside in this beautiful English country garden. It was absolutely stunning. And she said, now, if you get these thoughts in your mind, don't worry about it. Mentally write them on a post-it note and almost like stick them to the inside of your skull, almost. And then you can leave them there because they are written down and they're stuck. And you, just like in a normal post-it note, you'll come back to them when you need them. Do you know what? It works. You might not, I have no idea how this works. You might not be able to remember when you finished your yoga, everything that you put on those post-it notes. But trust me, say it was something from your shopping list. You go to the supermarket and you're like, I've got to get bread. It's amazing. It is like revolutionary, absolutely. And you don't have to do that just when you're meditating. You can use that when you're doing anything in life. If you're driving along and you're like, I mustn't forget to do post-it note. When the time is right for you to do that thing, it will pop up. It will pop up. It's amazing. If you don't feel comfortable with that, you could get a pad and a pen, make a note, and then get back on with your meditation. I don't recommend that. Firstly, the internal post-it note works, so why would you disrupt everything? But the point is that when you are disrupting things, you're not really meditating in the same way. You're letting these things take power over you rather than going, it's okay, I'll get back to you later on mentally. And therefore, the strength that you're building in this prefrontal cortex isn't as powerful when you're stepping out to make a note and then stepping back in again. But it's an option. It's better than not doing anything. And that's the point, isn't it? Especially when you're learning. Now, another tip that can be really helpful, because the reason that we struggle with monkey mind and we can't generally just sit down and meditate is because life is so busy. I mentioned that earlier on. Life is crazy busy for all of us. We've all got like 1,000,001 things that we're thinking about, 1,000,001 people who want something from us. So just going from A to B, or A to Z, actually, not A to B, A to Z, like in an extreme like this, and missing out the middle, it's not always that easy. That's why sometimes if you do the guided meditations, they'll say, go into a beautiful garden or go lay by the beach in your head and imagine yourself there in a calm, comfortable, relaxing place. Because what that will do is keep your mind busy whilst you're still being able to relax, because your mind and your brain associates these things as being relaxing for you. So if you like quad biking in the mud, wouldn't necessarily recommend that, even though it's relaxing for you, because it's about adrenaline and activity. It's probably not going to be a great visualization for you, because what we're trying to do is meet the body halfway from our busy lives to where we want to be in meditation. And so, yes, we're relaxing, but we're not relaxing with calm and ease. So I don't know what it would be, just going on a car journey or something, perhaps. That might be better because it's more of a serene way to relax. So that's what we're trying to get at. And you choose whatever works for you. I don't know if you've got any ideas that you want to put in the chat there about the types of things that would relax you. Yeah, car journey. Yeah, exactly. That's always a good one, because it's not stopping entirely. You're not lying on the beach. A lot of people that struggle with meditation don't want to go on a holiday and lie on the beach all day long. You'd rather be sightseeing or something, because again, it's that halfway house. Yeah. Exactly that. Yeah. Okay, so there's some other things that you can do. All right. So most of us nowadays are glued to our phone. So make it work for you. There's an app which is so clever. It's called, what's it called? Synctuition. I was about to tell you and then I forgot the name. Synctuition. Okay. Have a look at it. I've put the link, or I will put the link in the notes. They go beyond your typical guided meditation. They are, they use science to the extreme, using sound frequencies whilst you're meditating and a 3D audio so that you are completely immersed. Now, it's going to go one of two ways. You think it's absolutely amazing and you're in and you're subscribing and you're going, or you're like, whoa, what on earth is that? That's way too much for my brain to focus on right now. Either way, you've tried it. But if you like it, don't like it, don't write it off that that is where you're going to stay, because as we evolve, as we change our brain, our neuroplasticity, everything is changing. And so you might want to revisit these things later on as well. Something that you didn't particularly think was great right at the beginning, you might like a bit more when your brain changes a little bit. So bring in tech. If it's going to work for you, bring it in. I don't mind how you do these things. We're all different individuals. We're all different people. We've all got different stimulus, different hang-ups as well. So use what works for you. It's absolutely fine. And it's the same way like with music as well. You know, we all listen to different types of music. We all find different pieces of music, different beats, different frequencies. They'll affect us differently. So even someone might be using Synctuition and a different person might be using it, but you might be using it in different ways. So just have a look at that. It's really good. And if you love data, now I think this might be going too far into it for what we're trying to do, but it's really interesting concept. There's this headband called Muse, really good. It'll track what's happening during your meditation and tell you what your brain's doing. So it tracks all of your brain activity while you're meditating, and then it's giving you real-time feedback on how calm and focused you are. Now, that's cool if you're like into data and you want the analysis, and it's like a really cool thing. And for some of you, it might work, which is why I'm telling you about it. But for others, it might just add more stress on because you're like, do you know what? I'm not doing it well enough. The thing is, you are. If you're doing better than you were yesterday, you're doing good enough. And tomorrow, if you're doing better than you were today, you're doing better, you're doing good enough, because it's all progress. We're not looking to be perfect at everything straight away, because that would be a boring world. It would be easy for me to do my job, but that's not what we're expecting from you. So it's interesting. By all means, look at it. If you think it might work, then go for it. But be aware there could be a downside for it as well. There's another one here that I'm putting it out there so that you have it as an option, because some people find that when you close your eyes, then the monkey brain starts, and then you can't prioritize the thoughts that are going on in your mind, and it's just too much. Okay, so I think if we close our eyes, it's something, I think we save something like 30% of our energy when we close our eyes, which is why when we sleep, we are healing, because that's when we're not using a lot of our body's energy. And that's why our eyes close when we sleep, because we've got to process everything we see and link that to sounds that we hear as well. It's a lot for our brain to process. So if you close your eyes, it does mean that you're saving a lot of energy. However, it does mean that you've gone from stimulation to nothing like this, and that might be too much. So as a process of adopting meditation, as opposed to this is where you're probably going to be, you can start your 1 minute with your eyes open and then see if you can get to closing them. So you're just building on that. What happens is, over time, you go back the other way, and I can be stood in a supermarket queue and I can do some meditation with my eyes open and I'm focusing and functioning. Excuse me, sorry about that. So it's funny how we end up going full circle. But for now, while we're trying to train the brain and learn new skills, the ideal is to close your eyes and to switch off. If you decide that you want to create something out of this, then you can always create yourself a pre-meditation ritual. So that helps your brain to know, okay, this is what I'm going into now. So, we said we're going from A to Z without anything in between. Actually, by creating that meditation ritual, you're starting at A with the ritual and probably then starting the meditation at C or D, because your brain, it's like, oh, okay, I know what's coming. There's a candle lit, the light's gone dark, or whatever it is that you want to set yourself up with. So that's another good tip. So just to reiterate then, find a comfortable position, close your eyes, focus on your breath, ideally, but if it's not your breath, it's something else, it's sound, a buzz, whatever it is that works for you. And then when your mind wanders, you acknowledge it. If it's something that's important, you stick it on your sticky note, and then you guide your mind back to the meditation, to the calm, to the chill zone, if you like. So you're allowing all of these things to flow in, through, out, around and about. But the idea is they're not taking you off that straight road. Okay, so that is really the summary of it. So to wrap up, remember, meditation isn't about controlling your mind. It's not about stopping your thoughts. It's about learning to observe them and then gently return to the present. And that's something that takes practice. But with that practice, you'll find that it really does genuinely strengthen your ability to manage the stress. And then that directly supports your fertility. It will also directly support your relationships as well. Because if you're not so stressed, then you're more able to tolerate lots of other things going on around you. It's not just the fertility that we're dealing with here. Like we say, it's part of your ultimate holistic health. And then the fertility comes out of that. So you'll find some huge benefits from this as well as your fertility. So just practice for a minute a day. If it's something that you know that you have tried in the past and it's absolutely awful, you can't do it, just practice that 1 minute. Watch this again if you need to do, and go for that 1 minute, and then 1 minute next week, a minute and a half. If that's easy to you, you can build it up now, but don't go rocketing in at 10, 20 minutes unless you know that that's something that you've practiced before and it absolutely works for you. Because by the end of this program that you're on, I would love for you guys to feel confident that meditation is something that you can do even when we do have that busy mind, because we've all got a busy mind. So it's about learning it, understanding why it's important and we need to stick with it, and why we have to go through that process of learning and making it work for you. So, my loves, does anybody have any questions? Let me just stop the recording.